Hey there, and welcome back to Tempting Fate Tours. We're at the start of the end of our big European adventure in 70 and 75-year-old cars. It's been 6 days and several hundred miles, touring Netherlands and a little bit of Germany too. But today, we have a 2:15 ferry to catch, so we set out at 6 a.m. with the dew and some overnight rain still on the cars. The drive was lovely. The farming fields of Holland have pretty tree alleys dividing some of them, and it was fully 20 minutes in before we heard a sudden clattering noise from John's car. It turned out, thankfully, just to be a hubcap that had fallen off. After 10 minutes of intensive searching, we actually found the hubcap, proving, once again, that the British car goddesses were smiling on us. We stopped to fuel up and put oil into John's car. Tom's 3-gallon tank required a lot of fueling. A bit later, it was the turn of Tom to put oil into his car. The motif for traveling in British cars is add oil, check the petrol. Which was when he told John there was an increasingly loud clunking sound coming from under the car. Couldn't be the differential, that had been replaced 6 days ago, and he didn't really know what it was. But we decided to press on because there we were, in the middle of the Netherlands with a ferry to catch. Now, I think I said before, Tom is kind of a genius in online research. He had actually found a correct Series 2 differential with the right ratios in Holland, and amazingly, it added precisely 2 miles and 21 minutes to our trip. I told you he's a genius. We met a very nice Dutch gent named Paul, who had several Morris Minors, including a remarkable minor pickup. Like many Dutchmen, Paul is on the tall side, and minor pickup cabs work best if you're 5'7" or less. Paul had simply extended the back of his cab several inches, doing beautiful metal work, and only minor pickup owners would really notice the difference. Oi, there's something off about that one. It was a pleasant visit, overall too soon. Paul, in the end, we think may have been a little baffled at these two crazy Americans. At the port, the routine for getting on a car ferry will be familiar to anyone who's done it before.
You be nighty or?
I don't know if it matters, really.
Why don't I back up and you go first?
Okay.
That way people can don't get mad.
Cyclists, of course, got to zip right up front. Once the cars were finally stowed in the hold, our cars looked really tiny. But we did have lots of fellow travelers with us. That's not a Morris Minor pun. We spent several hours in the lounge with our friends. Steph, Joe, Richard, and Ryan. We chatted, we ate, we drank a little bit. And Steph had said several lovely things about our cars and our adventures. We thank you, Steph. Finally, we docked at Harwichport. When the wheels hit the ground, we realized this was the first time in 69 and 75 years, respectively, our cars had been on UK soil. Seemed a suitable age for a visit, no? And once through the formalities, we really only had 18 miles to our hotel, or about 30 minutes, using the avoid highways route. Tom and John both found themselves repeating, keep left, look right, because we had left-hand drive cars in a right-hand drive country, which is to say, they drive on the left side of the road.
As we were proceeding through the country, two things helped them to keep the car in the right place. The first was repeating over and over again, look right, keep left. Look right, keep left. To remember to be on the left side of the road. Also, I remembered the Monty Python sketch of marauding keep left signs, and that was also helpful because it helped get my brain out of the habit of thinking of keep right.
Right, stop that! It's silly.
But we made it. No crashes, no close calls. And one of the reasons we had done that, getting to a hotel so close to the port, is because the headlights on a low-light Morris Minor are terrible. Really bad. They're 5 inches in diameter, not 7 inches like regular headlights. They're not sealed beam, and they're at kneecap height. Just virtually useless. We made it before it got truly dark. We parked the cars, and we collapsed into our rooms. Did I mention that driving cars with 27 or 30 horsepower through several thousand roundabouts?
Did you say you had calculated 1.2 roundabouts per kilometer? Yep.
Requires more effort than your modern cars? By the way, if you like what we're doing here at Tempting Fate Tours, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can follow us on Instagram or Blue Sky, tell your friends about us, etc. End of promotion. The next day, we slept in a bit. Turns out that budget hotels in England seem to have quite strict rules about how you eat breakfast. For the Americans among us, it's a soft roll, often used for bacon sandwiches. Luckily, we had equipped ourselves with several rolls of stroopwafels. It's a sweet wafer sandwiched around a thin layer of syrup. It's absolutely delicious, and if you ever see any in stores, buy them. In the hotel lot, we noticed a car with an MG badge, and a fairly large MG badge at that. MG, of course, stands for Morris Garages, and our Morrises are closely related to MGs. This MG4, however, wasn't the MG you are likely imagining. It was a thoroughly modern compact hatchback. It was also all electric, and it came from China. Our goal for the day was to make it to London, which was 72 miles and hopefully no more than 90 minutes. Before getting on the road, we rearranged our luggage one last time to separate out the stuff we'd take with us and the stuff that would stay in the cars. We would leave the cars while we flew home. We'd arranged with our friend Darren to store them. Darren does a number of things, one of which is renting spaces to old car owners in a couple of floors of larger parking garages, and he'd kindly managed to find us a couple of spaces. In the end, we did make it to London, although Tom's gearbox, by the time he arrived, pretty much sounded like a washing machine full of scrap metal, and so we dropped his car first. That was in the garage where Darren keeps his own cars. You'll know his space at the end of a row by the splendid decor. Then we piled into John's red car to go to another garage, where access to the floor is blocked by a very large and imposing bollard that rises silently out of the ground. Very James Bond. After parking, we wandered down to a neighborhood festival to have some lunch. It was a great way for all of us to relax and enjoy the end of the journey. There was live music, there was good people watching, and there were cuisines of many countries. Then we went back to the garage, bundled all of our luggage and the three of us into Darren's Riley Elf, and that seemed like a suitable way to take us from the garage to the tube station. But why, you may ask, are the cars staying in London if you're going home? Well, you know, it seemed kind of a shame to ship them all that way just to send them home again a week later. So we have a few more adventures planned for them. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned. You'll see the next adventures shortly.